Good morning, children. A very good morning to all of you. This is Aprajita ma'am speaking from Techno India Group Public School, Siliguri. So, today we are starting a new chapter. Today, our chapter is a poem, a very well known poem. So, let me just show you all the name of the poem here. Here, see, the name of the poem is As I Grew Older. So, this is in chapter 4 of your ELR book. The writer of this poem is Langston Hughes. Now, before I start about the summary of the poem, I'm just going to tell you all a few words about the writer. The poet, of course. The poet Hughes was a famous African American poet. He was a social activist, a novelist, and a playwright. And he was recognized as an important literary figure who lived during the time of worldwide racial oppression and discrimination. The discrimination was against the blacks. He was born on the 1st of February 1902 in Missouri. Langston was involved in the civil rights movement and also wrote protest poetry. He believed that poetry and art can bring out social changes and equality in a society. He was also a part of the Harlem Renaissance as one of the first poets to promote equality in the society. He was known for his free flow and expression. He was very much concerned about creating the African American poetry as an independent genre in the world of literature. Now, coming up to the summary of the poem. As I show you all the poem here, just see here, we are going to recite the poem in my next class. Today, I am just going to go for the summary of the poem. As I Grew Older is a poem about the dreams that the poet was unable to achieve because of racial subjugation and discrimination. The poet in his childhood had dreams, as all children have, but as time passed and he grew up, he was subjected to racial prejudice and oppression. As I grew older, in the poem, the poet begins about a dream that he had a long time ago. The poet says his dream as bright as the sun. He was right in front of him until a wall rose between him and his dream. The poet is an old man now, and he is thinking about his dream which he dreamed a long time ago. He thinks he has almost forgotten his dream. He remembers that his dream was not fulfilled as a strong barrier was created by his fellow white people who will not let his dream come true. The walls seem to grow forever and ever, and it has become so taller that it rose until it touched the sky. The dream which was as bright as the sun has now turned dark. The wall has become a long dark shadow and has been blocking his dream. The dream being replaced by a shadow, the poet has become black. The poet lies down beside the shadow, which means he feels defeated now and helpless too. He finds that his dream is no longer above him, and so he feels vanquished. Instead of his dreams, he finds the thick wall and the shadow above him. A plausible interpretation can be that the dream of freedom and independence is no longer real for the blacks, and it has been overshadowed by the walls created by the fellow white people. So here we find is the poem, which we will be reciting in our next class. Now just see here. What is the analysis of the poem? The poem is in negative effects of racism, prejudice and discrimination too. It is a comment on any form of racial oppression where one is unable to achieve their dreams. Whether it is because of age, gender, nationality or religion, the poem puts up a message that we should believe in ourselves and stand up against the unjust society and rise above any sort of discrimination. So this much here from the poem. I hope it's clear to all of you, and we will be solving questions from within the poem also. So this much for today, children. Thank you a lot.